Hello everyone, and welcome back. We're starting a new project, a new model. This is one I've had for a long time. I see a lot of people commenting and looking at the unboxing, so this is also a simple kit to do during the holiday season since I'm doing so many 3D printing for family and friends and for gifts and stuff like that. So this will be something simple to kind of do. So I'm going to keep it simple. But it is the UFO from Area 51. Really cool kit. Um, nice detail. It's an interesting kit. Being that your upper and lower saucers are completely clear, and then they give you this like kind of etching. Here, I'll show you. Where's the top? They give you this kind of etching on the inside, and you can either paint the outside completely silver, or you can just paint the inside and do these columns to kind of give it a transparent look like that. So that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make this totally 50s looking thing, simple. And then you have a top, which will be completely silver. And that goes on top, which this goes on the outside. So this will be completely silver. And you have the bottom. That's all clear. Now what I'm going to do on this is to keep the most of the dome part of the saucer, that clear, shiny plastic. It's that, that way you can still see inside here. And then what I'm going to do is in the inside here, I'm going to paint this silver as well. But then it'll still have that, I was thinking maybe doing the outside. Maybe we will do the outside and the bottom as well. That way it kind of matches the top. It's not realistic to anything or truth, I mean, you could paint it if you just want a generic saucer. Just completely paint it. This is a repop kit. I think Testers was the original maker of this kit. So I guess it's supposed to resemble, I don't know, an authentic flying saucer. I don't know. But, or at least what people described. So, but I think they would have been completely just silver, with the top. So yeah, I'm not sure on the bottom. I think probably the bottom we should probably paint the silver on the outside. Then here's your mid deck. This is what sits about mid cent, about mid. Yeah, sits right in the bottom rim. Down here you do these gravity generators, and then you got like a grid here and some little air vents or something, and then there's little areas for other decals. I'm gonna do the full decals because I know most people probably are gonna do their own thing, which is cool. But I want this to kind of look off the wall, uh, 50s sci-fi look. So that's and not truly realistic, just kind of like 50s movies. Everything was shiny and chrome and gold, and so that's what we're gonna do. Make it completely, pretty much the way they kind of want it to be, anyway. So we'll use bright colors. I'll even use the colors they say just to make it outrageous. They like use a metallic teal and then white, and the consoles are all white, and then with decals. Actually, it sits like this because there's like the captain's chair, two other chairs. These are console areas that are happening here. These are console areas. These are chairs. And then this is where this little needle plugs in. But we're going to make a new one of those. And then down here are those gravity generators that hang down. I was thinking about trying to light those, but it's bringing light or power up to here and then getting them to those. They do follow right under where each one of these consoles are is where these are. So I was thinking about if you were to do that, I would bring something up, make a greebly here, and then just run styrene piping to each one of these pegs, maybe even drill through. That way you could drop a little SMD inside these gravity things make a barrel. And you could probably fit, and they're hollow, you could probably get a light in there and kind of get that plastic to glow. Or if you have a 3D printer, you could create these, which is what I was thinking. But then I'm like, now I'm not making it simple. I'm going off and doing all kinds of lighting. Sometimes I need to do some kits that aren't just all fully lighted. Just like I'm going to do some TIE fighters, 3D printed TIE fighters. And yeah, I could probably do the consoles in the clear. That way I could glow the whole console plastic and then paint it black, except for the areas I want the light to come through. But that's just, you're never going to ever see in there anyway, and it's just overboard. Sometimes it's just fun just to make a model. If I make the engines light and the cockpit interior has a light and stuff like that, that's good enough for me for that. So that's what we're going to do here. I thought about, yeah, if I was going to light these gravity emitters, because then they get a decal that goes around them. If you did these, you could always come through here, and you can get some light through that plastic. But what I would do is actually just print them clear, or off milky white would work as well. But we're not going to do that. We're just going to leave them just hanging, because that'll sit like that, and they'll be just hanging down. You're barely going to see them anyway, because there's only going to be like this much window to look through, and then plus it's at a curve, so you're going to get that lens effect anyway. So, but we'll do whatever color. I think they said like a metallic teal, and then these are gold, these bars. Um, but in order to get power in here, what we're going to do is, of course, we'll drill out this bottom where you have this ugly nub from the actual pressing of it. We can drill that out so we have a post there. Then we have power in here. So what I'm creating here in CAD is this here, which is going to be hard to see, but this here is a 2 meter, what, 3 mil, 3, I think it's 3. I think I made it 3. 3 millimeter thick, uh, pretty much a disc with a hole in the center. And the hole in the center fits an exact little piece of styrene tube. And then that styrene tube is going to come up and go into this. But what we'll say is this ring here will fit right in this area here. And that will be solid. I'll probably print it in black, and then we'll paint it whatever color we choose to paint it. Then I have this ring, which that other ring will fit in, that disc, I should say. These are more rings. This is actually a disc. This disc here will fit in to this ring. It's just the way I'm zoomed in that it looks different. I zoom in like that. So this will actually, that other disc will fit right in here. And that will be opaque, solid. This one here I'll print in clear. And then printing it on a textured build plate will give me texture on one side. And I made this 1 millimeter thicker too. I made it 4. That way it'll stick a little higher up than the rest. So we'll have that dark disc that'll cover this area. And then mainly that's going to be from the inside. You're not going to see it because this will be all silver. And then the next light disc, the clear one, will fill this area. And then I have one more. This one here will be the outer. We'll do this outer edge. And this will be opaque. Probably black, but we'll, like I said, we can paint it whatever color we want to once we put it all together. Now what that's going to do is it's going to give me pretty much a circle with a clear ring in it. What that's going to do is it's going to work as a light from underneath. So like I said, this is going to be silver. So then I can just probably put like 3 or 4 LED strips right on the bottom here facing up, facing into that clear ring, and that clear ring should glow. And that'll give us some light in the bottom half of the ship. So if you actually put this is where this actually goes. Like that. And then you'll be able to kind of see them in there. It'll glow that area up. This ship, as you can see, the color scheme of it is quite, blues and yellows and greens and stuff like that. I mean, the artwork shows a little more of it, but even the decals have a lot of blue and teal and stuff like that. So we're going to go with that vibe. I kind of dig it. Just like the saucer from another planet, which is really the C-57D. But Polar Lights wasn't able to. They lost the license of it instead of all that tooling being worthless. They just named it, put new art on a box, made new art, named it something different, and reprinted it. And you can make it the C-57D if you want to from Forbidden Planet. But I just went and made mine, a weird ship, kind of what they were looking to do. I figure if I'm going to build a C-57D, I'd rather get that big one. Or I can always get another one and make that smaller one a C-57D. But that's not what I was going with that. You can do that. It's kind of like I watched Lou from Aztec Dummy he did Granny's Wagon, but originally that was the Green Acres Wagon, but they just called it Granny's Wagon. But you can and I think you can make 2 versions: the version that they consider the Granny's Wagon, or they still have the parts to make it the Green Acres old fashioned wagon. When Polar Lights bought out whoever made it before, AMT or whatever, when round 2 bought that out, they were probably like, let's reuse it. We'll just name it something different, new box art. And I think that's smart. And then you as a consumer can still make it what it originally was, because they don't take those parts away. They can't get in trouble for that, I guess not. It's just the name they can't use anymore. Like I said, this one has this is just a fictitious. You got 2 Martians that come with it, or aliens. I don't know if they'd be Martians. They're aliens. You got one guy that's sitting, one guy's standing. You got a military guy. So there's an open uh, gravity generator, and the other 2 will be closed. So, but what we're going to do is we got, like I said, that's all this will sit on this rim in here and it'll make almost a flat floor, but then it'll have that clear ring that I'll be able to shine light through to light this bottom. And then the reason this has a hole is I put the hole in the actual part, because I'm going to use a piece of styrene tube, have that come up. It'll come up through here and go into this hole, which is also the hole for that little needle. That'll go there. I'll sit in front of that other little captain's chair kind of position. Let me get some light on the subject here. I don't know if that makes it any better, but there's a captain's chair position there. So this is here, and you're supposed to paint that gold. I'm going to make a new one because I want to be able to run a wire through there, because we got to get some power up into the upper part here. Only for lights. I'm not lighting consoles or anything weird like that. You probably could go in there, bring power. Like I said, if you bring power in through the bottom with a greebly, just make some type of greebly here and make it look like some type of mechanism. Or you can do something like this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to have this one on the bottom sitting on this. So it just gives it something different. And then the tube we come in. We'll go through both of those parts. This is an old clear part. I think it was a lens for something that I printed. So I'll drill a hole for that, for the tube to go through, for the wires to sneak up. So it'll come in through the rod into here. feed these lights, but then power will come up through this hole, through this, through the styrene tube that goes all the way up into this. But then to cover up this hole and everything, I'm going to put that other one there, clear part there. It'd be neat to get put some lights on there. That would be neat. That's something, there's not really much room for a junction unless you bore that out and make a little SMD in there. But anyway, but I need to make this needle part here longer because it's really not tall enough to make it up to the ceiling of the ship. So what I'll do is I'll just make a long. Well, actually, all I'm doing here, I already have the part made. So like I said, this is our inner. There's our clear part. There's our outer ring, and here is the dome part. Is that part, not the cylinder rod, but this part here. Really, all it is a cylinder, and you do a chamfer that goes all the way around and it gives you that cone. So I measured that. That's about 8 millimeters. Made a cylinder and then did a chamfer. But first, I drilled the hole here in the part, which is probably going to be really hard to see. Yeah, the way this light is. But yeah, I made a hole in that and then did the chamfer. I can get the chamfer to glow, but I don't know if it shows up. So basically, I made that little dome with the hole to accept the rod to go right through. So that styrene rod's going to go all the way down to this part, go all the way up through this floor, through that, and come all the way up, and then I can trim it. That way, I can just trim it to get it into that to the top, and then it'll poke through the top. We'll have it poke through the center of the top here. And then you see how there's these four little things? You have decals that you can put there. They kind of look like little lights, so I'll just put four little lights. I might switch them up. It'd be neat to put a control board up here too, to have them do some stuff. I do have an old train control board that switches between an output one and an output two. So it gives you. It's really set up for street signs. Because on the other flying saucer, I used it, and like the C-57 has that light that goes around in a circle, kind of like even the Lost in Space Jupiter 2 does. Well, even though it's switching between the two bulbs, it kind of looks like it's going in a circle. So you can kind of do that. But I think I'm just going to leave these on, maybe pulse them. No, I think we'll just leave them on. And eventually I have Pegasus Area 51, and that one I can focus on that one kind of looking like a real representation of a real flying saucer. And it even has landing gear, and I think I'm going to make a little base so it looks like it's landed on like a landing platform, and computers around it with cables going up to it. That I'll do something like that instead of having it flying, have it landed, because this will be flying my flying saucer from another planet. It's flying. It's actually hovering over like a field. Then I have I forget what the other one from Pegasus, where they're little tiny. It's two tiny flying saucers with a big dome. You can see the alien driving it. I have that. That's going to be cool. That can be kind of fictitious and goofy. And then I have the small little diorama for War of the Worlds. I have the big war machine, but then I have the one with the two little ones in the tank getting blasted. That's going to be neat too. So that's where we're at. I'm going to print these parts and get some stuff ready to paint. All right, here's my uh, rings that I wanted to print for the bottom here. And now you can kind of see what I'm saying, as this will be a light bar. I just printed this out of clear. And then I shine a light through. It's glowing pretty good. That's why I don't mind all the infill and the texture plate. It actually gives diffusion, so it actually makes the plastic glow better. So, and then I printed it a little thicker. Is these two the same thickness? Yeah. I think I did these at 3 and this at 4. Just to make it stick up a little higher in where this light grid is. And then I'll decide. I think I'm just going to paint these parts silver. And then we'll have this piece of tube styrene come up through and go up through the whole ship. But yeah, then that'll come up through, and continue. And it'll still look like their little needle antenna they have there. And up into the, we'll actually have to drill a hole up through here. And then that goes on there. And then we'll put our 4 lights for inside here. All right, got this primered. Both sides. That way this will stick to it better. Such a flat surface, I'm always afraid of even washing them, still having mold release and stuff on them. I'm going to use this light green. This is from Rhino Wisdom. It's, where did I get this off of eBay or something? I think so. And they're all airbrush ready. Plus, then they give you 4 bottles of thinner. So it's great. Gives me lots of different colors. So I'm going to use this light green, which has a gold flake in it. It's close to teal. I think that's what they're calling for. Yeah, metallic teal. And then I'll look good with, I'll probably do a pearl white for all the controls in here. Do I have a pearl white? Oh, here's a pearl white. I think they give you 2 bottles of pearl. No, that's regular white. There's an actual regular white. But we do have that pearl white, and I'm sure it has, here's a pearl white gold. That might be kind of cool too. Could always do that, or do a light mist of that. What else? What's this other one? Pearl silver white. I think the silver would probably be better. The gold looked a little heavy. I'm afraid that would almost dry like an ivory. Pearl silver might work good because it'll still show that white. I don't know if you can kind of see because the camera, the light above is really washing it out, being that they're white. Yeah, doesn't matter. It's going to get washed out. But this definitely has more of an antique ivory kind of look. So maybe we'll do the pearl white in here and on the controls, and then it gets a decal goes down on it, and then we'll make it look like that. So I think that would look cool. Then the seats and all this will be in the pearl white in the areas around it. And I don't know if the decal is, I think it's clear. And it just has the blue and stuff. So that's why you have to paint it white underneath. Otherwise your teal will just be striped. So I think what I'm going to do to get a good, accurate circle, I need to get a compass. Because right there's your center. Perfect. You have a compass, you can just have this sit down nice and just stick your compass in there. And it's a 120, or it's 12 centimeters. It's 120 millimeters, right? Because you can go from these, from looking at the picture, you can see the white just comes to the outside of these extended areas and out here. So all I did is measure in here and yeah, 120, right? And it's the same across here. So that means that diameter is right there. So we'll do that. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to print a thin little piece of plastic. It doesn't have. It just needs to be almost like a circle template. But first, let's get this on. Well, I'm going to give this primer a little more time to dry. All right, got this painted. Got a weird spacey kind of look to it. Then I used my compass to draw a circle, so I'm going to use some pinstriping tape to get a circle here, and we'll do this at a pearl white. But I also think I'm going to put some of the furniture down and hit it all at the same time. So I think I should probably, well, let's get I think I'm going to get that striping tape down first, and then we'll glue those guys down. All right, there we go. We got the parts glued on, and we got the striping tape there. So now we need some smaller tape to kind of go around it. So we don't need that big of pieces. Do a little there. Like I said, I'm gonna do this up just kind of the way they want. I think it's kind of a cool 50s meets modern colors with these weird green teals, metallics. We're gonna do that 50s sci-fi pristine looking saucers. And like I said, we got the what is it? Pegasus Area 51. That one we're gonna make look like a real thing. There we go. Well, the other side we don't have to do a white circle. It's just going to be the teal. It's just going to be the teal with gold supports. These gold grid things. All right. I think we're ready to paint. Okay. Well, got that down. What I did is did a base coat in I think I used a pearl white and then went back in with this pearl silver white, but there's quite a bit of gold in here. I couldn't imagine using this. It's almost all gold. But I like that. In the bright lights it looks quite white. But here in person you can quite see the gold. But let's see what we got going on here. I think I wrap this around the edge. Yeah. My biggest worry is the pinstriping tape. They do like to burn in to paint the adhesive. So let's find out how much it did. Let's see if we can get a. One of the reasons why I try to go the same way, so you kind of get, when you pull up, all these pieces of tape come up as one piece. So far, so good. But this tape's made to kind of not stick, so it's light tack. All right, now I think you're the one. Yeah, you're the overlapper. All right, I'm happy with that. I mean, I put a good clear down and let it set for overnight. So I was hoping and a good primer to make sure it. Sometimes especially these big flat pieces of plastic with the mold release and the oils. Oh, there we go. I think that's going to be cool. And then the decal should fit right in the center here. I think I'm going to hit that with my gold marker, but I don't think I want to hit it with a clear, so I might wait till I do the full on clear for this. I think that's what I'm going to do. Put a clear coat, light clear coat down, and maybe put some decals down. Yeah, that goes good with that color. But yeah, when I come back, I'll have these decals on. Well, here we are with the decals on. Um, went on pretty fairly nice. But just like I find with some polar lights, I don't know how old these kits are. I didn't think they were that old, but yeah, they were some brutal decals. I had this one totally lose. I had one of these like totally lose this whole upper circle part. I had pieces break in here and here. This whole piece here broke, but it stayed in one hole, so that was easy to slide together. It was this one here where it shattered, like, and then you try to move the little piece back, which is not a big deal to get them kind of lined up again, and it would break in more pieces, so it was pain as far as that, but not as bad as like say the um, NX01 where everything just one little red line. It had pin strips on the NX1, and one little red line like this big would break into like 15 pieces. So there we go. Even got the decals on the seat. So this whole area is all decaled, all the computers, everything. And it goes, I think, fairly well with the rest of the background color I did. So top's done. We'll do a little, well, I want to do a clear over all this. Do the whole top with a clear again. Might even do a little scuff with a light sandpaper just to smooth out any little lumps. All right. I went and did that little gold piece, but we're going to, now that this is completely dry, I can get rid of this now too. We can go in and start hitting all the gold parts on here, and then we'll do the grill on this side, and I'm gonna hit these a little bit with grill, uh, with gold, with grill. Let's see if we can do this little honeycomb grill first. All right, and I think for these rails, we're gonna just use this wider one. Let's at least see. Yeah, I think it just needs a lot of mixing yet. the problem with these not getting used for a while. And I think the felt part has probably picked up a lot of that liquid instead of the actual chrome. Well, I'm starting to see it now. We're gonna have to be careful there because it's gonna want to be runny. Kind of hard to tell on this color too, because you normally when you want to do a gold, you want to have a black underneath it, kind of like if or a red. Usually a chrome, you want to have a black underneath it. I heard gold's a lot of times a good base color underneath is a red. I don't know. I've never tried that before. Like if you're gold leafing. Now these with these, I try to move in long movements because it keeps it flowing and it'll level itself out, and you won't see like the strokes from you moving back and forth. As long as you keep it wet. So I don't know what you'd consider it, an ink or a paint. All right, last stretch. There we go. Yeah, I'm liking that. I guess then we'll have to see how it dries. Because the crazy thing is, it works like a fountain pen because you do have to press to get it to pull more ink through, or paint or ink. I tend to look at this as more like an ink. Yeah, I'm liking that a lot. Really? Or did, yeah, it's like I knew I started somewhere on that one. There we go. It's really all it is to the bottom. We got some decals that go in these spots. That's really about it. Pretty simplistic, except for we got the little gravity emitters to put there. So maybe we'll put those decals on and then start painting those up. All right. So I got the gravity emitters going. Two of them are completely round. One is like half, and then you put this little detail piece in there like that, which will do a. I'm gonna do this ice blue with the gold dots around it, and it'll go in that red one, and then this will be yellow. But what I'm doing is I'm painting them with a cracked acrylic that's close, because this I'm gonna do a brilliant blue, which is a metallic blue. Um, but this way the cracked acrylics take up most of it, because these are airbrush paints. They're very thin, so they take a bunch of coats. This way I can do that, then hit that red. I'm using a peachy red, and just to get the color instead of trying to get the coverage at first. So I found it was just easier just to throw some acrylics on, especially when you're trying to cover over, bare plastic with these airbrush paints. They're almost like once you thin these down so you can spray them. The craft acrylics, they're very runny and they want to move, and so it's just better to do that. And then these get a decal on it too that wraps all the way around. And then a little spot in the bottom here. What is this? Oh, Tahiti blue. I like it. It's actually a nice blue. I remember using this on something. I can't remember what though. But this will at least give us a base coat. There, that gives us something to have the paint airbrush paint stick to. Now we just got to do the yellow once this blue dries. I probably should force it to dry. There we go. This yellow going. I know this is a generic Hisico. I don't even remember where I got this, but it gave you a lot of colors in a bundle. But wow, look how dry that is. This yellow we definitely want to get down there because it's going to be the hardest to cover. Yeah, that yellow is so chunky. It's like I almost got to stick my stirrer in there and stir it all up. It needs to get whipped. But adding some water in there might help. It could be it's just drying out, even though the paint all didn't dry, but it's losing its moisture. Works for me without trying to take too much paint off. All right, I'm going to set up at the spray booth. All right, over at the spray booth, I'm going to start off with the lightest color, which is pretty much going to be this ice blue. I'm going to mix a little bit up here. I'm going to put a little thinner in here. Shouldn't need a lot because it's really just one little piece. All right. Oh yeah, that worked good. Excellent. So we'll let that dry. We'll just move it out of the way here. I think we should go with the yellow. Try to go from the lightest to the darkest. But I think I mixed a hair too much. Like I said, we're going to do this quick and dirty. We're not going to do a massive color clean. I might take a little alcohol. We might get a little green if we don't get a good color. Actually, I'm going to see if I can just spray this without even adding any thinner, because you don't need a lot. Give it a little quick dry. Yeah, that's looking good. It's almost a gold, but it has a lot of yellow in it. We'll use it all up. It's almost gone. There we go. I'm liking that. It's got a nice metallic. And then, like I said, it gets a whole decal wrapping all around the whole thing. There we go, and I like that. It's got a little purple in it, but I think that's just natural. I'm not sure what the flake is. Is it the gold and the silver? Yeah. But we'll let those dry, and then we'll get some decals on them. Now, let's get these together. That came out pretty good. I like that. See how this goes together. Do a dry fit first. Yeah, we're going to want to hit those with the gold first. At least these edges. Am I going to use this, or am I going to use just a painted? I'm going to try this. The other problem is with these, you kind of need something to rub it to keep opening up the ink. Once you get it flowing, you just got to go if you're just touching stuff. There we go. Yeah, it's not the greatest detail thing unless you got a big surface to actually, actually, you know, keep opening up. It's like almost like a fountain pen, or a calligraphy pen. The more you kind of push the things, because it looks like it's like 4 pieces of plastic kind of open. Remember, I have the tips. I have extra tips for it in case these get gunked up. But let's see if we can get you in here. So what I'm thinking, Just drop there and a drop there. Let's see if I can get it to stick. Yeah, we'll probably have to drop a little in there now that's in there. There we go. I might even get the decal first, then do the clear coat, and then do these little. At least I got those in there. It would have been hard to get those right there, those edge ones, without hitting the edge. So yeah, I think we'll on this we'll actually get the decals down, clear coat it, and go from there. And you're just ready for a decal. That's the blue one. And here's the yellowish gold one. And he's going to even fit in there. And it's going to be a toughie. This one should, because it's only half. Yeah. That'll work. I might as well do that because I might put the decals. Well, there's 7 of them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. What is going on with this thing? I got a new desk coming. Thank God, because this poor old desk. It's a plastic. It's one of those like things you can use for like if you have a birthday party. It's a foldable table. I've been using this thing for 8 years. I got a nice wooden desk on order. One for that, one for the computer. They're both 47 inches, so it should be about the same. It's actually exactly the same size as this. But my clamp will be able to clamp on something solid instead of this plastic, and then over time, for me doing all this and stuff, it's bowing down. Plus if you ever had these plastic tables, these folding tables, the underside's not flat either. It's all kinds of, so nothing can really grip on anything. Like this thing has to go away, the vise is all crazy. So I'm hoping the wooden table is going to make that light have less stress. Because this has been a good light. Get a little water in here. It's more efficient of my time if I go ahead and do the other one, especially since now I'm remembering how this goes and I won't get it. I do think before I close it up, though, I want to go. Now these paints aren't like the craft acrylics that are going to be ultra. They're like water soluble. I wonder how I could do this. On this piece and on the inside of the piece that goes over it. So I can do a little bit of light blocking before we set that down. I have a feeling it's going to be just sweet though. All right, as is the case, the second one always goes faster than the first one because hopefully you've got your routine down, your methodology. I'll make sure I get some water under some of it because I know I'm going to have to move it. Oh yeah, that's going to look good. It might have landed pretty well on itself. Q-tip. That's going to be make this other side match, like as far as end to end. I don't know if I have it butt right up on it or I leave a little gap. I'm not sure. We'll find out. Yeah, we gotta leave space because there's a lot here. Let's do it this way. Looks like these drums are kind of in a. Looks like the top is wider than the. Or the bottom, I should say. It might just be off in a little weird alignment. Yeah, that's what it was. There we go. And we gotta put something on the bottom of those. Yeah, I'm cool with that. Yeah. Now we just need one for the red. And then we'll plop on all of those little 3 little round spots. It's an extra. You're going to come this way. There we go. I like that. Yep, that looks good. Yeah, and you're getting a metallic coming through. I like that. Good. I guess you really can't put one there. I didn't even think about that. Unless I put a half of one there. Yeah. Maybe I'll try that, but yeah, you can't really put one there. There we go. Yeah, I don't know. Well, since we got an extra and everything, why don't we just chop this one in half? I hope I didn't have because it kind of moved. That'll work. That works. When I went to cut it, it must have just rolled because it's floating on common water. But that gives you enough where at least when you're looking in there, you can see that that one has it. And these little spots as well. Alrighty. Now there's 7 of these. Almost same, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Whoop, they're starting to float. These are coming off real quick. I'm actually going to have to grab this one and put it down right away. Because if I try to lift, if I would have tried to lift that out of there, it was ready to float right on top of another decal. There we go. Are you amazed there's not another one? Right, I didn't do something stupid. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All right, so because these two, I see. It's this way you're looking at these two, these two, these two now. But yeah, oh, it's making sense. So I was like, I thought they had things pretty much in line. There we go. Yeah, because it's kind of like this hat in the back has a center light back there on that ceiling. I'm liking it. Yeah, that'll work. And we'll face these so they all have like a good grid like that. Sweet. Well, let's see. What can we do? Well, we got to let those decals dry before we hit them with a clear coat. And I still think I should wait to do the clear coat before I do all the little gold bumps. So, nothing to it but to let this dry for a little bit, a couple hours.